Hello guys, TCGLover here. I'll do another video today talking about a card that's coming out in Order of Chaos. It's not going to be an exclusive, it's just going to be, it's one of the core set cards. But what makes it interesting is that it has a similar effect to a card that we already know. As you can see that I've got the screen on Starlight Road. But the card that I'm going to talk about today is called Huge Revolution Reversal. If you've looked through the set, you probably will have either missed this card because it's right at the bottom of the set, number 78, so you might have not looked through the traps, because usually a lot of traps in new sets are not that great. People just stick to their torrentials and their solemn warning and their solemn judgments and stuff like that and so on. So there isn't really many good cards. I mean, there's like Debunk, which was a nice new card, and yeah, it was a good side, but in terms of how many trap cards are still playable, you know, that are new and stuff, it isn't many, unless it's part of an archetype, but even then people don't even bother really. But yeah, this card's effect is, it's a counter trap. If an effect of a spell, trap or effect monster that would destroy 2 or more cards on the field is activated, negate the activation and banish it. Okay, so its main use, as you can tell by Huge Revolution Reversal, the name of it, that it's supposed to be used against Huge Revolution, which if you have 3 special cards in the field, then you can blow up the field, so or blow up all of the cards from control. So yeah, but the main real use is actually like application in a competitive sense is that you know, if there are so many cards that can be stopped, really, it has a huge benefit over Starlight Road, being a counter trap, meaning that it cannot be negated by many cards. There's a few cards that can negate it, which is Solemn Judgment and 7 Swords of the Bandit, and a few other cards that aren't really played, but that's about it really, and that's pretty good because it means you're going to get it off. And yeah, it does have a very similar effect that you know, you have to, 2 cards have to be destroyed, but one big difference is that this card can be activated depending on either side of the field's being destroyed. So if your opponent uses Scrap Dragon and blows himself or blows a card on his field and then hits a card you control, then you can activate this card and the cards don't get destroyed and Scrap Dragon goes banished. And when it gets banished, it means it doesn't get its effect off. So yeah, that's really good. So yeah, you banish their Scrap Dragon, they can't use it again for the rest of the game unless they get it back somehow. But I doubt Scrap's main that sort of stuff. And yeah, it means that if your opponent tries to activate cards like Trident Dragon, this card can stop it. So basically, cards that they can benefit by destroying their own cards, which is not very effective strategy because you're just going to be negating yourself. But that option is there, so it's very useful if your opponent is trying to do some kind of combo involving destroying themselves, like Scraps, but I don't think Scraps can actually blow 2 of them other ones. But yeah, it does have a disadvantage compared to Starlight Road. The main thing is that, as you can see by the artwork, that you summon a Stardust Dragon, so you do +1 when you stop the card because they activate their card, you negate the card, so that's a 1-for-1, and then you get the special summon a 2500 beta, so that's really really good. But the slight difference is that you can only activate it when you would destroy 2 or more cards you control. Okay, that's not really that's different, it's not as good, but it's okay. The effect is negated and the card is destroyed, so that's very similar to Huge Revolution Reversal. And you get, yeah, so you're supposed to summon a Stardust Dragon, but that Stardust Dragon it's not had its effect negated, so you can negate another effect, so you can potentially plus again. You can basically negate another destruction card, so your opponent plays Dark Hole, negate, and then you summon Stardust Dragon, and then they go Heavy Storm, and you go negate. Even though you don't get your Stardust Dragon back, you did manage to stop 2 power cards. However, Starlight Road is incredibly, in a sense, compared to Huge Revolution Reversal, it's much easier to stop. There are many cards like Shien, Lagia, Balkion. There's a few special cards that can, you know, Stardust Dragon can negate it, so it's really easy to stop it. and it can be stopped by Solemn Judgment, as well as Huge Revolution Reversal can get negated by Solemn Judgment. But there's just so many cards that can stop it, and because it's a trap card, your opponent can chain stuff, and it really isn't as great as it came out to be. I mean, it is playable in this format. I mean, it's really good when you activate a field spell, and then you set this, and the opponent's like, oh, okay, Heavy Storm, then you Starlight Road, and they're like, oh, fuck. Yeah, so, really good. Both of them are very good, but also this has the added benefit of being a counter trap, faster, and also if you use it in counter fairies, they've now got a way to stop themselves from getting destroyed, and they get to draw a card if you have Bounce for Artemis on the field. I would say that this card in Watts, with the Watt Hopper lock, if you don't know what the Watt Hopper lock is, if you have a Watt Hopper on your field, your opponent cannot attack another Watt monster on your field or target it for effects. So if you have two Watt Hoppers on your field, then neither one can be attacked and neither one can be targeted, so you can just keep summoning Watts and they can't be stopped. The only way they can be stopped, the Watt Hopper lock, is by card effects that don't target, like Dark Hole and Black Rose Dragon. So initially, a friend of mine, he went to Rice's Brighton playing Watts, and he didn't do too great, but he did go 4-4 eventually, but it wasn't not that great, is it? But I got the same. And he got his lock continuously blown up, like destroyed, and then once his lock was gone, he was so left open for attacks, so he just couldn't get back from that. So I suggested to him this card, and it's basically the card that is going to make the deck much better. He's only got one. The opponents only have one main card that's going to stop this, and the chance of them having it is low. And I said to him to 1-2 of these, because it also banishes the cards. So, and I'm going around in circles here. The point is that it's very versatile, and it's very similar to cards like Stardust Dragon, because it negates the effect, but this card is much harder to stop, and generally much more splashable in decks. Yeah, and also it cannot be negated by Solemn Warning, which is also a card that's mained, but Starlight Road can be negated. And people are like, oh yeah, my Starlight Road gets negated, but they lose 2,000 points and they baited out their warning. It's like, well, obviously you don't really want your cards to be destroyed, because even though they lost 2,000, you've lost about 3 cards in your back row now. So yeah, you're kind of in a bad position, unless of course you just get Gear Town destroyed or something. So yeah, it's really, really good, and when it comes out, I'm pretty sure it's going to have some place in decks, especially Watt Hopper lock decks and counter fairies, and I think it's just generally competitive card. If you have a deck that swarms and your opponent is trying to get back on you, like trying to climb his way back into the game with Dark Holes and stuff like that, this card just shits all over it, and it's definitely best against monster effects that will destroy 2 more cards like Black Rose and stuff. So they can't get it back, and it's gone. That's it, really. It's so God, it's broken. Right, well, that's it for today. I hope that you understand that this card is good. I hope I've given some good points, and I have highlighted the differences between this and Starlight Road. They both serve different purposes. They have very similar effects, but in terms of their uses, they are different. If you're looking for something more generic and more focused on protecting yourself, then I would suggest Starlight Road. But if you're looking for an all-round card that's competitive, and a card that can be used against your opponent as well as your own, and a card that's more likely to go off because of the fact that you can, like, if one card will be destroyed in your opponent's field and one card will be destroyed in yours, and your card is obviously more powerful, then you can stop it with this card compared to Starlight Road. So let's say you have a Thunder King and they've got a TG Warwolf, and they play Dark Hole, or they play something that destroys both of them, or Torrential, they summon Warwolf Torrential, then you can stop this, and Torrential goes missing forever. So it's really, really good. Both good cards, but I veer towards this one more, because even though you don't get the advantage that you do with Starless Dragon, counter traps are much more powerful these days than they used to be. They're much more playable and much more the game has evolved in a way that this card has a slight benefit over. All I can suggest is when the sneak comes out on January the 14th, to just grab a few if they're not super or ultra rares. Just grab a few if they're rare even, and have a go, because you will be surprised how often you get it off. So as long as you're playing a deck that doesn't rely on its normal summons so much. So yeah, it's very troll card as well, very very good. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you did learn a lot from this video. So I might want to do a video about why it's brighter, but since it has been a week since the whole thing, I might not bother anymore, but I could just, I don't know. So thanks for watching, guys. TCGLover out.